Hey everyone, Draco Magnius here for another weapon story. This time we cover my favorite weapon in Drakengard, coincidentally also the strongest weapon, Hymir's Finger! The magic spell isn't a reference to anything, but the name of the actual sword is. But before we get into that, I just want to cover the weapon as a whole, something I haven't done for any of the other weapon stories. At level 4 it does 62 damage. Its weight is 45 kilograms, which I translate into pounds, means this sword weighs 99.208 pounds. Almost 100 pounds this sword is, and we're swinging around like it's nothing. Granted, it takes a lot of time, but yeah, that's a thing. Imagine if someone dropped this on your head. I mean, really, not even the fact that it's a sword and therefore the tip must be pointed. I don't know if the edges are, because it's considered a blunt weapon, but I digress. I'm gonna just get into what the name Hymir's Finger means. Hymir is a giant in Norse mythology. I know, shocker! Another Norse mythology weapon story? Get out of town! Drakengard really loves its Norse mythology. Anywho, Hymir is the giant and husband of the giantess Horror, I think is how it's pronounced. I'm not good with Norse. He's also the father of the god Tyr, and is the owner of a mile-wide cauldron in which the Aesir, as aforementioned in another weapon story, the higher-ups of the Norse gods, wanted to brew beer in because, hey, the Norse are essentially the dwarves of reality, only taller. Thor was accompanied by Tyr to obtain it from him. He has several daughters. When Thor and Tyr were trying to get his cauldron, Thor breaks a cup by throwing it at Hymir's head, and it is mentioned that his skull is unusually hard. On top of this, as you can see in the picture, actually, there's a tale where Thor fishes for Jormungandr, or the Midgard serpent, or the world serpent, a serpent so large that it, in the ocean, circles all the way around the world and bites its tail. It's the son of Loki and another god, I think, and it is said that if it stops biting its tail, the world will end. It is the greatest adversary of Thor. Anyway, in the story, Thor goes fishing with Hymir, using the head of his best ox for bait, catches Jormungandr, who then either breaks loose, or as it's told in the Geirfalginian in Prose Edda, is cut loose by Hymir, who, according to what I am seeing here in this image that I have, is a big coward when he sees the giant serpent and is afraid. Or it could be because in Prose Edda it provides the additional detail that while Thor was attempting to pull Jormungandr in, his feet went through the bottom of the boat. So yeah, maybe it's less that Hymir is a coward and more of the fact that there would be a giant gaping hole in his boat if he let Thor continue. But I digress. Let's go to the actual weapon story now. This is the largest sword in the world. Too heavy for any mere mortal to lift. It is believed that till now, no warrior has been able to wield it. It was forged by the Warlord Vok the Pitiless. Made from the melted armor of his vanquished enemies, this sword announced Vok's might and grandeur to the world. The sword grew heavier each time it took a life, and gradually became more and more difficult to wield. At last, even its mighty owner could no longer swing it. One morning, Vok, the Pitiless, was found dead. Beside him, dripping with flesh and dyed scarlet with blood, lay the sword. Who had managed to raise the mighty weapon against him?